Wir müssen die Dauer auf die Straße bringen. Wir müssen die Dauer zu den Menschen bringen. Wir müssen die Dauer in jedes Haus bringen. Wir müssen die Dauer überall hinbringen. Wir können keine Blockhütte im Wald bauen, wo wir Dauer draufschreiben.
Ramen! Are you sleeping, you fat fuck? Come on!
Now the thing is, when it comes to Germany, we'll have to look at who were the Germans, who are the Allemans, and things like this. So I've sent you another picture of the Alpha and the Omega.
Right.
Now this is the Alpha and the Omega when you write it down with your handwriting. Yes, this was the average handwriting that they found on walls. You know, like you know, you decorate your house, you decorate places. If you're not artistic. Now the thing is, it's the Alpha and the Omega. It's not the Alpha and the Omega or the Alpha and the Omega and the Alpha and the Omega. It is Alpha A. So now the thing is, today the Alpha and the Omega symbol. I've sent you a copy with the Alpha and the Omega symbol beside the symbol for Allah. It's exactly the same.
Absolutely.
Now the only people who use that symbol today is basically the Muslims or people in the Middle East. There could be some Christians who are Arabs who use that symbol too, because they use the Arabic alphabet. Now, the thing is, it's so strange that the Muslims are the only people who are using the Alpha and the Omega, and,
It's a
and
perfect thing.
nobody
I can
else
see
is.
how the omega could be made from this kind of a W thing, but also how if you put the alpha into the omega, how they fit together.
Yeah. Now the thing is, there's a W, and now in some handwritings they've made it look like a big O.
Right.
Yes, I'll explain that some other time because that is a long story.
Cool.
Yes, and then that takes us to India to the and the Omega
Oh,
symbol.
that'll be
Yes,
another episode. Okay.
yes. India is it's a totally different thing.
It's a
Yes.
whole thing
So
on
now
its
after
own.
that, yeah. Now after that, I've sent you something that's from the Gala Placidia,
Oh yeah.
which is in
So
Italy.
here's Christians using it.
Yeah, the Alpha and the Omega symbol is used worldwide.
But
and
this is the
Christians used
Muslim
to
one you're
use it.
saying, right? The Arabic, right?
It's an international symbol. It's the
Oh.
symbol for God.
Tartar,
Yeah,
yeah.
but today nobody uses that symbol. Not that much anyway, except for the Muslims who are decorating their houses, their cars, their books with the Alpha and the Omega symbol.
But here it's
And
closed, right? Like so that's kind of changed slightly. The closed A instead of that open.
Yeah. The thing is, the A, when you make it longer in a line, then it becomes the number one. That's why the Alpha is the number one.
You know what?
And the
I
number
knew an
one
East
symbol,
German guy who made his ones look like that, just like V's straight down.
an upside down V, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That is the number one. The number one and the letter A is basically the same.
Interesting.
So now,
okay.
yeah. So now the thing is, the Alpha is the Alpha and the Omega. It is not the Alpha and the Omega. That's why the Muslims still say Alpha and they say Allah. But the Christians, they refuse to say Alpha and Allah. They will say Elah, Lama,
Interesting.
Sabachthani.
Well, I see here even
Well,
you show in
why
the
would-
bottom left corner they have the open version. So why is it such a big deal, the difference between the A and the E?
Now the thing is, some the Masoretes changed it to the letter E. The Masoretes were in the Middle Ages. Yeah. Some historians say 1,000 years ago, and but the other historians say they were 500 years ago. I've sent you
The
something about the
Masoret. Who were the
Masoretes.
Masoretes? What is this? They changed
Mazor
everything?
Mazor comes from the word Misr, yes, or Egypt, and it's a group
Oh.
of people, yes, who wanted to carry on the system of the priesthood of Pharaoh or the ancient Egyptians.
Okay, it's
Yes,
like a SAR
but
step.
but
Okay.
the main thing is the Alpha is a letter A. It is not the letter E. So Jesus Christ could not have said Elah, Elah, lama sabachthani, and the name for God cannot be Elah in the Old Testament. That is a major proof that Elah is a fraud, and all these Bible translators, every single church that says the name of God is Elah is telling a lie, because the Alpha is the letter A. God is the first and the last.
That is
God
so
is the
okay. So
Alpha
aren't the
and the
Hebrews not
Omega.
supposed to have vowels or something? But yet Alpha and the Omega, right?
All
So
right. Now, modern Hebrew, yeah, I've said that to you before. It's in a different video, so I won't go through that
right.
again. It's an artificial language that was created recently.
An excuse to get rid of the A. Oh man.
Yeah. Now, the unfortunate thing about modern Hebrew, yes, let me show you the symbol for Allah in modern Hebrew and the symbol for Elah. Yes.
Okay.
And we know that God is the Alpha and the Omega, Allah and the Omega. It is not the Elah. Yes. So now let me show you in Hebrew. Yes. Allah and Allah is exactly the same. But what these
Yeah. 'Cause no
Masoretes
vowel.
did is they played around and put circles saying, pronounce it, if you're a Jew, pronounce it, or a Christian, pronounce it Allah. But if you want to follow the Alpha and the Omega like Jesus Christ and all the prophets who said it was Alpha, you will say Allah. So guess
Wow.
what? It looks like the Muslims were right all along. It was always the Alpha and the Omega. That's why the letter A is on every symbol for Alpha and the Omega. Now,
Wow.
let's see how many Christians, yes, are going to go out there and say, hey, I'm going to pray to Allah tonight. Or are they still going to insist and say it says Allah? Yes. The thing is, if they're going to insist, do you know what they should do? They should change every Bible and say God is not the first, but A, B, C, D, E. E is the letter 5.
Oh,
Say God is the fifth. God is the fifth and the last. Then you can say Allah and the Alpha and the Omega. Yes. So the
interesting.
thing is, this is nothing to do with supporting the Muslims. This was in Europe. The Europeans and the Christians said Allah and had the Alpha and the Omega until the boys at the church, the Vatican and all these other priests, regardless of whether they're Protestant, Orthodox, or whatever church, evangelical church, all these priests, the majority of them decided to tell the world, hey, it's Allah. Yes.
Right.
In
And then
other
there's
words,
like
to
Elohim.
make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Elohim comes from Alpha and the Omega, Allah and When
There
you
we go.
combine them two together, it's Allahum. That's why when you go to Turkey, yes, you'll see people, if there is a car accident, they'll say straight away, and they'll say Allahum. But the thing is, oh no, nobody's going to say the first and the last, the Alpha and the Omega. People are now going to say Elohim. Yeah, well, it's same like instead of saying the United States of America, let's say the United States of Umrika. Let's change it. Yeah, so a bunch of priests and a bunch of guys changed it because they wanted to separate the path of God and divide people, divide and rule. They told the world it's Allah. Why don't people go out there and check things? It's not
There's
the
a
internet.
Indiana
You don't
Jones
need to
joke
take
in
60
here
minutes.
somewhere. In the Latin, Jesus begins with an I or something.
This is disgraceful. It's absolutely disgraceful now when it comes to the name of Jesus Christ. Now I've sent you from Wikipedia the name of Jesus Christ in England until about 100 years ago. The
In
average
England too.
Catholic.
Okay.
Yeah, the English people, the Anglo-Saxons, all over Europe, even in America up to 100 years ago, and people said Esau for the name of Jesus Christ. Esau. Yes.
Well, you had showed
Until
that
they
the Arabs
changed.
were doing this, so that's interesting. But the Christian English were doing this.
Let's forget the Arabs. We're
Yeah.
not talking about the Arabs. We're talking about Europe and Germany today. Yes. Now the English, to the English people for centuries, the name of Jesus Christ is Esau. Now,
Wow.
now, even to the Vatican, yes, the Jesuits were called the Societas Esau. Yes, the Society of Esau. Yes. Now the thing is, nobody in Europe and America, hardly anybody, today will call Jesus Christ Esau. Now the only people who are calling them is these people from the Middle East and these Muslims. They're calling them they say Jesus Christ is called Isa, and then everybody's just saying, no, he's not. He's called Yeshua or Jesus or Joshua or Yeshua. Where are they getting these stories from? Where are they getting it from? And then they're going to say, no, God's not called Allah. He's called Alpha and the Omega. It's the fifth letter. God is not the first. He's the fifth. He's the Allah. Okay. Yes. They might as well change the Trinity to add two more people.
Does this play into that AE thing, that letter, like the Alpha AE thing, whatever, like the Encyclopedia
Oh,
Britannica?
those file things. Oh, that was part of the policy to change the alphabets. That's how they changed Arapa, Europa, to Europa.
Got
Or
it.
Europa was called Arapa. They changed
Arapa.
the letter A to the letter E. Same like, there is El Salvador, El this and El that, but everybody knows it was originally Al Salvador.
Did they
Just like in the
change
future.
the B to a P? Was it Araba, like
Oh
Arabia?
yeah, yes, of course. Everybody knows
Okay.
this.
I think
Everybody
I see
knows
what
that
you're
the
laying
name
down here.
Everybody knows that the name for daddy is Baba. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But oh no, these days they try and say he's so kind, he's so sweet, his name is Papa. Papa.
Oh,
And
there it is.
and now they're even putting it in these French adverts, Italian adverts, or in Renault adverts saying Papa Nicole, Papa. It was never Papa. The Pope was a military leader. and there were military wars, against the Pope, and the thing is. But anyways, now that we're talking about Germany here, yes,
Mhm.
let's get back to Germany.
Alemania,
Germany,
right?
the name Germany is a new name. Yes,
Saint Germain. Okay.
it was originally called Alemania for centuries, and even today, many people call it Alemania. Si vous parlez français, dans France, il dit Alemania.
Ah
Yes,
ouais,
Alemania.
bien sûr.
Yes, yes. So they were called. The Germans are called the Alemanni people. So now, what is so strange about these people? Yes, you can find this history. It's not hidden. Yes, the thing is, they are going to say this history is 1,500 years old. But according to professors like Professor Anatoly Fomenko and other professors, they've said that this timeline is wrong. Now, if we change the timeline, it shows that the Alemanni were the Germans only 400 or 500 years ago, and we can still see this when we look at the photographs of these Germans that I've shown you who are wearing headscarves.
Yeah.
Yes, and the fashion is totally different. Now, these people followed a religion called Aryans. They were called the Aryans. Now, some people tried to say the Aryans were a race, but let's have a look at
Okay.
what is the religion of Moses. Yes. Now, the religion of Moses, there's the Jewish people today, and they turn around and say that if somebody is not a believer, yes, to many people, they will say, please marry a Jew. They're not being racist. Well, it's nothing to do with race when they're saying this, because there could be a Jew from Germany, there could be a Jew from Egypt, there could be a Jew who came from Iran, yes, or a Jew who came from Italy, and they're going to say, marry somebody who's Jewish. What they mean is you marry somebody who believes in God, in the same God. And the rabbis are saying this. Now, the Muslims do the same thing. Now, the thing is, the Germans were known to be the Aryans, and they followed the system that in English we'll say Arianism, or Italian or French Arianismo, whatever you want to say. But they were the Aryan people. Now, some people try and say it's a racist thing or something to do with race, and they tried to change this on purpose so that nobody can find the truth. Now, the Alemanni
Makes
people,
sense.
they were Aryans, and they were a beautiful people, and these people followed the way of Moses, the original Torah. And the original Torah, and they will not marry somebody who was not a believer, somebody who was eating pork. They married only the believers. That you could come, let's say you could come from Mexico or the United States or Canada, or you could come from Morocco or from Spain. And if you said, hey, I am a believer in the God of Moses, in this one God, then they will say, you are one of us. Yes, so now we've got the Alemanni. Now this is the Germans, and they're following Aryan. Now the only Aryan we can find in history is Aaron. And Anatoly Fomenko showed the
Oh.
connection. I see that there is no doubt that these people were the followers of the prophet Aaron. And many rabbis have
The
even
Aaronic
said that
priesthood.
the followers of the prophet Aaron were called Muslims, even before the Muslims of the Prophet Muhammad were called Muslims, that they were called Muslimani. Yes. And the thing is, let me try and send you an example. There's rabbis who've said this, but you'll have to play the video. It's about a minute long or something. Let's see if I've still got it. Many rabbis have done research that the Muslims existed before the Prophet Muhammad. And for example, the followers of Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, many
Ari
of them
is
were called.
a Hebrew nickname for Aaron, so that even tracks.
Yes. Well, let me just find that video. Let's see if I can find it. But people can find similar things online. Yes, that the name Muslims existed before the followers of the Prophet Muhammad. Yeah. It will take too long to find it, but so people will have to look for it online. Sorry, I can't do anything about that. So now these Aryans, yeah, obviously they weren't Christian. The Germans were not Christian, yes, who followed the Trinity. They were Aryans who believed that Jesus Christ was a man. They believed that the Bible was a lie, yes, and they believed that Jesus Christ was a prophet. This is nothing to do with Islam. They had the Alpha and the Omega symbol, and they called God Allah, not Allah. And they had the Alpha and the Omega symbol, and they were going around attacking anybody who followed the Trinity. I've sent you Anatoly Fomenko shows.
Right. I'm looking
Aaron
at the
and
Aaron to Arius and talking
yes,
about Arius.
yes.
I'm interested in
So
Arius
now
now.
these Arians, they refuse to accept the Trinity. Yes.
Ramen! Are you sleeping, you fat fuck? Come on!
Okay, fair.
Because that is so controversial. Yes. The Ferengi and the French and Firenze, Florence, and then Firaun, and then the Führer. The Führer, Hitler,
okay.
they call him Führer on purpose. Yes, because they know Führer. Yes, means Pharaoh. Yes.
Okay.
Well, anyway, the Germans, the Germanic tribes are Anglo-Saxon. Yes, the so-called the North Europeans, the Dutch. They rejected the divinity of Christ. They rejected the Trinity. So where are these so-called proud Aryans of Germany and England today, and Holland and Northern France? Why are they there? Why have they forgotten that their ancestors were murdered, tortured, and raped by the Vatican and the Vatican's armies, and forced to accept Christianity? Whether they're Catholic or Protestants? Why is nobody checking this history? These people had the Alpha and the Omega. They called God Allah, and that's why they were called the Alamani. Alamani, Allah. Yes, the men of Allah. If people think I'm making this up, go and research it yourself. And then this is where the Holy Roman Empire was. Yes, forced conversions. Yeah, burn these people. Yeah, if they're not going to follow us. We want to set up our new world order with the New Testament. Yes, the New World Order began with the New Testament. Many people don't know these things. Yes, and the Vatican was behind that. Yeah. So now the thing is, there's many of these people who are in America who are of Anglo-Saxon origin, and they think, hey, this is our ancestral book. Yeah. Tell them to go to Germany, to the fields, and start digging up the graves of their ancestors who got raped, murdered, tortured, and burnt. And let's see how happy and proud they'll feel. Yes. And then they're going to say, yeah, yes, our ancestors became Christian because it was they chose this religion. I don't think so. Yes. So now the suspicious thing is, yes, when we look at the Alemanni, yes, and things like that during the Middle Ages, they're burning the churches and everything. Now the thing is, the region of Germany, yes, and the thing is, I'm not making this up. People can go and check this. Yeah, was ruled by the so-called Holy Roman Empire. But when we look at Wikipedia and everywhere, they're going to say the Holy Roman emperors were Christians who were fighting against the Muslims during the Crusades. Were they really fighting the Muslims, or were they fighting the Vatican?
Were they really
now,
Christian?
Here example,
right.
Yeah. So let's have a look at I've given you an example. Like here is Frederick. Yeah, Frederick. Somebody will say it's a German name, Frederick. Yeah, but somebody else will say it's an Arabic name, Friedrich. Yeah, Farid. Yes. So the thing is, it doesn't mean anything. It could be a Christian name or Muslim name. He was Holy Roman Emperor, etc. He was the King of Jerusalem, King of Germany, King of Sicily, etc. So now these things, when you look at them, there's him, his families. Now the thing is, they've already falsified the timeline and a lot of information about these kings. Now, when we look at their gowns, now, so if somebody is going to say, hey, David's making this up, yeah, or David made this. Oh yeah, let's look at the Holy Roman Emperor's gowns. They're decorated in gold with thousands of pearls and diamonds. God knows how many millions of dollars this cost, and it's got Arabic writing over it. Yeah. Now the thing is, somebody's going to say, maybe it's just one or two things with Arabic writing on it. Yeah. So they're going to say
stuff from Arabs or something.
Yeah. So the thing is, the thing is now the mysterious thing is this. Yeah, even if you looked at, let's say, under your gown, you're going to wear your t-shirt and things. Germany's a cold place. You wear your t-shirt, your leg warmers, back in the days, things like that. So let's look at their vests and their stockings and other clothes. You know what we see? Even in their private clothing, they've got Arabic writing on.
Wow. Like
Yeah,
magical
this
talismans.
is
Okay.
somewhere in Vienna. Oh, now, what we will find in Germany, these maps, even these maps in the history, we can't trust it. German principalities in 1800. Yes. So what we can see is that there was a Holy Roman Emperor, but he doesn't seem to be able to control Germany. That because they had these walled cities and people lived in the countryside, and the Vatican said seize these cities, and the Vatican, had the Jesuits based in Paris, the Jesuits and their army based in Paris, yeah, and the French invasion of Eastern Europe, and the Inquisitions from St. Petersburg. Flamenco talks about it. Now, let me just send you a map of Germany, yes, in 1800, that you can see that Germany is a mess. We can't seem to figure it out. A similar thing is in the Balkans, yeah, of the so-called Ottoman Empire and in Eastern Europe. But so now let's imagine these German principalities. They are claiming Kaiser, and Prussia, it became Prussia under Bismarck, but it was the Holy Roman Empire before Bismarck. The history of Bismarck is just a fabrication, is just a total invention. And Kaiser William II, that what it looks like is that the Holy Roman Empire, or the Empire of Otto the Great, or the Ottomen, or the Alemannia, this is the Ottoman Empire. And the Austro-Hungarian Empire is part of the same empire, and the so-called the Turkish Empire is the same empire that they're ruling all the way down to Mecca, from Berlin to Mecca. But the problem that they had was these principalities that you can see, similar principalities that turned up in Hungary, Austro-Hungary, that different cities and different regions, yeah, had their princes or kings that were rebelling against the Holy Roman Empire, or what we call the Austrian Empire. That the story of Maria Theresa and the break from the Holy Roman Empire seems like a total lie, because what we can find is this sounds like a total lie, because when I saw this, it just made me realize it's just a total lie, because they turn around and say that Austria around that time managed to break away from the Holy Roman Empire. Maria Theresa, and she became powerful when she married the Holy Roman Emperor Francis I. And Francis I in the 18th century is supposed to be a die-hard Christian king, yeah, and they're involved in the Balkans and in Eastern Europe against the Crimean Khanate and the Tatars, and the Ottoman Muslims, and the Hungarian Muslims that were in Hungary. But we've even his clothes, even his socks have got Arabic writing. So it just shows it's a total lie. The history of Maria Theresa is a total fabrication. We don't know anything. It's just a total fabrication. And then some of the princes, what we can see is that some of the princes joined the Vatican. And that is when the Holy Roman Empire, which is the empire of Otto the Great, or Otto or Attila, yes, or the Ottoman Empire, Attila's empire, Atta-Ilah. Atta means like a father, yes, in many Germanic languages. That's why we have the word tat, yeah, or they say Atat, Tat, Turk, father of Turks in Turkey, Taturk, or dad, Tat, dad. In English, he's my dad, yeah, Dada, yeah. So now these German principalities. So the thing is, Germany, if we notice the strange history of Germany after World War I, that's why we can't seem to be able to find Hitler. The history is a forgery. Yes, Germany in World War I doesn't seem to be defeated. There's something wrong. That the principalities, they say there was 19 major regions after World War I that mysteriously formed this new government after World War I that I can't seem to find either. And then they're saying the burning of the Reichstag because it didn't exist the way that they're telling us. It did exist, but it was something else. The history is something else that we can't seem to know the true history of Germany even before World War II. That it looks like Germany, Austria, Hungary, and many places in the Balkans and Turkey, that they had something called some type of old Islam from the Germanic, the Hun and the Slavic people. This is what they had. And they left their coins and everything behind. But within their territories, we've got Greece. Within their territories, we've got the question of Serbia, the question of Croatia, the Albanian Christians, that these so-called mysterious Christian principalities appeared where they've got the feudal system. Yes, and it looks like it was same like the modern world today. There was Muslims and Christians in Europe. So this is why it's very important to bring this history out, because we cannot risk the collapse of Europe ever again, because Europe has become a beautiful place. It took us more than 100 or 200 years to rebuild the homes, to rebuild the sewage systems. We've got a beautiful place here in Europe. I live in Europe, and I don't want to see Europe collapse in 50 years' time. And the thing is, if anybody reads my book, Illuminati Games, and the other books, the Alpha and the Omega Codes, we can see that situations are being formed, created in Europe artificially to cause tension. And another thing is, there's many Muslim madrasas that are teaching some modern type of different, sectarian Islam, which are going to become a problem in 50 years. And the nation states or the people in power are giving these people licenses. In Manchester, I remember I asked the vice mayor, or maybe the third person down, I asked him 10, 15 years ago, I said, why are you giving these schools permits? And he said, I don't know. The command has come from above. I said, what are you doing here? I said, you do know what they're teaching in some of these schools. Yes, so is going to cause sectarianism, division, and people are not going to even study the Quran. They're studying these new books that the British have put in the Muslim museums. Yeah, let me just show you. This is very important because many Europeans and many Muslims who do listen to this, this is so serious that this modern Islam has got actually was created by the British and the French and the Vatican. That they are going to use it when they need it, when they can't control the European people.